Harrison Bader and Joey Votto are on fire. Plus, we had some trades. Let's talk about it next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Wednesday, July 28th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And Harrison Bader, in 20 games since coming off the IL, is batting .384 with 5 home runs and 3 steals. Strikeout rate is way down. He's only 35% rostered. That seems criminally low, Scott.
Yeah, I would say he's the most underrated player in fantasy right now is Harrison Bader. And I get why. I mean, not a great track record here. The strikeout rate was always awful. It was particularly bad last year. He's cut it in half this year, and maybe you'd be disinclined to believe it, given his history. But he did have surgery in the offseason to remove polyps from his nasal passages, which apparently were giving him vision problems. So watery eye problems seem to be affecting him at the plate, as his strikeout rate this year shows. And if you make him a contact hitter, suddenly the whole profile looks a lot more interesting because there's some power there, there's some speed there. It kind of reminds me of like an Ozzy Albies type profile, except from an outfielder. Of course, he's not proven like Albies is, but that's the kind of upside I suddenly feel like Harrison Bader has, and he's demonstrating it night after night now that he's healthy. Definitely somebody who needs to be picked up in all formats.
Somebody else who needs to be universally rostered at this point is Joey Votto. And all the credit to you, Scott. It seems like you've been talking about Joey Votto since the beginning of July. He hit 2 more home runs on Tuesday, has now homered in 4 straight games, has 5 homers during that stretch. He is 76% rostered, so it's getting up there. He might be available in some shallower leagues. I think this number needs to be 100%.
Yeah, I think so too. He's must start at this point. He's a top 12 first baseman at least the rest of season in my mind, because the thing is, like, you look at his season numbers, even with how well he's performed since coming back from a fractured thumb in early June, you look at the season numbers, they're pretty good. They don't blow you away. But remember early on, before he suffered that thumb injury, he was underperforming his StatCast expected stats by a considerable margin. And we were saying at the time, it looks like Joey Votto might be onto something here. Changed his approach really last September, stopped selling out for contacts, started gearing up for power more, and the results have been great here. The results have been great, and as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to be somebody you want in your lineup.
Truly a great park to hit in as well there in Great American Ballpark, so that is helpful for Joey Votto. We had a few waiver wire starting pitchers go on Tuesday. Jordan Montgomery was at the Rays, 5 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts. Logan Webb up against the Dodgers, 6 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. Brad Keller up against the White Sox, 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. All of these pitchers, I think, are pretty interesting. Scott, how would you rank them? Montgomery, Webb, and Brad Keller.
I would go Montgomery, Keller, and then Webb. I mean, Webb is interesting in the sense that he has like a 60% ground ball rate this season. He's shown ground ball tendencies in the past, but that is an extreme rate, and it gives him an xFIP just over 3. I have a hard time believing he's going to be quite that good. He's not much of a bat misser, but there's definitely something to work with, and he's at a pitcher's park, obviously. But Montgomery just seems really safe and steady and gives you some strikeouts, and just not a lot to dislike from Jordan Montgomery. So I think he's the safe choice there at number 1. And then Brad Keller, I'm pretty interested in it as well. I think he's fixed. He was a disaster early this season. He was apparently not getting on top of the ball like he's used to, which is kind of important for a ground ball pitcher. Also didn't have much confidence in his slider. It all seems to be back now. 4 straight quality starts. I think you can ignore the season-long numbers for Brad Keller at this point. Look at his history. It's very solid. Not a high ceiling guy, but a good high floor guy who generally pitches deep into games.
We had a lot of news and trades on Tuesday, so let's start with the trades. First and foremost, the Mariners traded away Kendall Graveman and Rafael Montero to the Houston Astros for Abraham Toro and Joe Smith. The other move that the Mariners made was they acquired Tyler Anderson, starting pitcher from the Pittsburgh Pirates. But let's go back to that first trade, Scott, because this has huge implications for fantasy. With Kendall Graveman being moved over to Houston, I think we can drop him now. And Paul Sewald is only 19% rostered. I think he steps into the closer role.
I think he does too. He had been kind of, the way Scott Services managed it for the Mariners, he's kind of had a closer and a backup closer, and Seawald had emerged as the backup guy with a K rate that's the third best in baseball behind only Kimbrel and Chapman, historic K per 9 guys. So Seawald's been great. I think he takes over as the primary guy with Drew Steckenrider also contributing saves from time to time.
We had a few positive COVID tests on Tuesday. Trey Turner and Christian Yelich, they will both be out at least the next 10 days. And Steven Strasburg will undergo thoracic outlet surgery and will not pitch again this season. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.